So search and destroy in Vanguard can get a little crazy once in a while, and today we're going over some of the pro strats to help you figure out this map and understanding the game of search and destroy, the things that you need to know, and the strats that you can use to dominate. We're going over all of that today, so without further ado guys, let's get right into this one. Let's go. So there's a lot to take in on Berlin specifically to understand this map. Obviously, this is like a sniper haven. We'll kind of start on the defensive side of things here. There's just so many different lines of sight on B, especially with a sniper, just overall on the map as a whole, and a sniper who understands callouts and can play for information is so huge to have success in a map like this. So already you're seeing a lot of this B-roll of the sniper lines of sight over to B. The cross to B here, and we're inside of TAC maps right here. Great program, highly recommend. You can download it in the Microsoft Store. Shout out the CoD Rec League for making this insane program. The big thing here is, like, let's say number 3 is your sniper. You can run up onto the railway here and he can watch the cross. And this is kind of the line of sight you're looking at right here. And so you have a lot of options and information to help control that B side of the map. You can watch this from a lot of different angles, from dockside, from the trucks, from the railing, like from the back of the spawn. Not to mention, we'll talk about some of the setups inside fire specifically. So this is the first setup we're talking about here on Berlin. It's kind of a base B with a stack towards A. It gives you a lot of flexibility though still to work towards B if you need to. Of course, a lot of teams really like smoking this out, and that's gonna be a consistent play where you're gonna, and we'll talk about that on the offensive side with smoking out somewhere in this area, something like that, or like trying to throw it farther up the map. So you're gonna have to get used to that. And the smokes could be fake smokes, but overall there's still a lot of open spaces. So even if they smoke here, your sniper can still reposition and give himself a line of sight, still watch the cross to bomb. So there's a lot of ways that you can play this and play patiently towards B that gives you a huge advantage. We're gonna talk a lot about how to utilize the snipers and the long lines of sight in this game, but that is something to know off the rip for sure. So over towards the A side here, the biggest thing here is that number 4 needs to throw a gammon bomb to open up this door so that he can see into A and get the information on if the players are planning on the back side of A, because you can actually watch that from there. It's a really, really powerful position. So when you have number 3 and number 4 watching those lines of sight, you now will absolutely know when the opposing team is trying to plant the bomb. So it's a great base setup that gives the other 2 players, guys you think you can trust, to push up the map. And you can use this setup even in 3s, where one guy watches the cross, one guy watches bomb, and then one guy plays mid or plays slow inside fire. And you have basically the whole map covered just with these like 2 or 3 players. So it's a really, really powerful setup. And what I like about sending 2 guys through the bottom fire door into mid here is that A, it's like a pretty safe line of sight. Like rarely is the attacking team like gonna push up into mid, try to get a gunfight going like right here or something like that. So it's a pretty safe overall setup. And B, it gives you a lot of mid control, so that if you see them at A, you can actually double pinch through secret and then run up the stairs and try to find the 2-piece inside A. You can pinch through broken if you need to. You can wrap through the spawn to play towards B. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in your retakes if they even get the bomb down, or if you have the information about which way they're headed. A lot of teams like to kind of rush through here, hit bottom secret, and then try to make a play up the staircase and pinch A. And so that's something to take into consideration while he's watching that. So overall, really balanced setup. It's been really, really effective for us so far. All right, so here's the next setup. And some of the timings to know real quick is that you can get to this middle door in library about the exact same time. The attacking team can get to this door maybe a few seconds before the defending team can get to the middle door. So that gives the offense the advantage inside library. So you have to be really wary of that on defense and not be too willing to push into library on the defensive side, is that it actually gives 2 and 1 some flexibility to work this a little bit. Where like, let's say they smoke this out. Now 1 and 2 could potentially try to make a play through library and actually like get library control together. That's been really, really effective, is that when that smoke goes down, so you stun the pushback here once the smoke goes down, and then you rush into library to counter it with map positioning. And that's been really, really effective, as number 3 can maybe reposition himself and he can snipe even like backside B a little bit there from fires. And then number 4, his job just to watch A. And again, that call out is the key there. And if you end up getting the call out, then you can rotate through fire and support A. So here's another similar setup to that, except this time you send your sniper into fire. I mean, he could probably go top 3rd story fire, or F3 is what a lot of the pros call it right now, where you hop up on a tank, then you're up top fire, and you can snipe this really nice line of sight. You can actually hop onto the window ledge here, and you can snipe like this whole area. And even if they smoke out this side, again, you can still snipe the back boxes. It's overall a really, really powerful position. And the biggest thing here is where you're just stacking by truck and inside mid here. You're just paying attention to that middle push. The only weaknesses for the position here on truck is from third story library and really from inside broken in station. So you just want to be able to watch those two things when you're sitting there and you're trying to protect number 2. And again, same situation here as before, where if they try to get a smoke down, you can try to push up and make a play here into library. I think it almost works every time, and it's really, really effective. Big fan of that push as well. And then again, rotate back to A if you don't see anything. All right, so this is the final defensive setup here. Key here, call outs towards B again. No shocker here. He's just watching the line of sight here, watching the cross. Then I really like this stack at A here. You have one player sitting back in closet, and then you have one player laying behind the desk to just watch that front door entrance. Then you have number 4 sitting in the back here, and he can actually watch this full pinch. So he's watching that outer push. He can watch like that weird mid push if they get timing inside mid. And it also allows 4 to rotate pretty quick to help number 3 if he gets a call out that a lot of them are heading towards B. And so it gives you a lot of flexibility actually on the setup, and provides for pretty nice balance, especially if you think that they're going to be stacking A here pretty soon. Not to mention number 4 can support bomb here as well. Overall, a really nice, simple, balanced setup. Oh, so the final thing here on defense is some of these cheeky sniper spots that I was just kind of messing around with in the pregame. Some of these god spots, I guess you could say. If you hop up on the tank in the back of spawn here, in tac maps, it looks something like this, where you can like literally snipe this angle basically towards outer. It's a little bit weird. You have to get some pretty nice timing, maybe hit a jump snipe, but it could be a really cheeky way to get that call out that they're outer and have some fun with it. It's something to experiment with at least once in a while if you want to give it a go. I'm not sold that it could work as a strat, but it is something to know about that is at least possible. So now on the offensive side, the biggest thing here again is a sniper shocker watching the cross here. So you can hop up on the barrels, you hop up on the truck, then you hop up on the roof, and you can snipe this line of sight right here across the whole middle of the map and actually watch the team cross over to A. And this is crucial information. You got to make sure you quickly execute your jumps and don't mess it up, because if you do, you might miss them. So you have to hop up really quickly, get there and check it as fast as possible. But it's crucial information. So again, you can build a lot of your setups based around that information from what your sniper's getting, or maybe an AR. Your AR might be able to see it as well. The next thing is how you utilize your smokes towards B. From what I've seen, the easiest way to utilize the smoke is the player who's gonna play in the back inside train here is actually the player who should throw the smoke. So he's gonna wrap through the back of the spawn and then throw the smoke from here right on the back of tank, basically. So it smokes out right here, which allows for the bomb carrier to follow him through the back and open up this door and slide out back behind boxes. So then the bomb planter runs up, plants bomb, and he plants as close to the middle as he can to give yourself the best angle to kill the bomb planter or the bomb diffuser when he's hopping on it. So number 2 can be the player who's watching the bomb here after he gets it down. And the number 3 player actually has some flexibility here. And this is where I think he can play inside library and watch that pinch here. So something like this. Or if you want to stack it, you could definitely do that, where you send both of them through the backside here, or you send one to play inside the corner. Offense is a little bit more difficult than defense's map, because you have to really play with that information in mind and then counter a lot of different ways that teams can push through the map to try to hit the flank. So it does get a little bit interesting here with how the smokes end up playing out. And generally you might want to stun the middle area here to try to get information about whether or not they're controlling that mid push. Otherwise, you can try to get library control. So there's different ways to play that for sure. Otherwise, 3 heads with him and he kind of lays down back boxes here to make sure nobody pushes up while he's planning. But that is a pretty nice way to get the bomb down and put yourself in a really good spot to win the round. Ideally, number 4 can get back to the back here. And if you can have some sort of setup like this, I mean, it's about as unstoppable as you can get. If you just are stacking it like that when bomb is down already, there's nothing you can do. It's over. Inside train, definitely big fan of this one to say the least. So here's the next setup. Again, pretty straightforward. You're just making sure that one watches that cross, you get the information. This is more of a balanced setup. The players, once you get the call out, can then decide which bomb you want to go to. If only one crosses to A, then you might want to try to go towards A and you can wrap this thing through. And the big key here is number 3 needs to, watch this line of sight so that when like 2 and 4 try to cross, that they don't get caught. That's kind of a pretty important aspect of this setup though. But overall, I think it's really, really effective. I've seen it work a lot already in SnD tournaments where you have that information and play directly off of the sniper's information. as you set up, and it gives you a lot of flexibility to go either way. In a similar sense, if you don't want to watch the cross with the sniper, I still think that you can run this type of similar play even towards B and just hit it really, really fast. So ideally, you run through the back, you smoke out the tank, you hit through the same way you would, except the sniper that would normally be sniping, maybe you send him up towards library, have him plant the bomb. Number 4 can either like sit inside library with number 2, or you push it up to bomb again like that, and you have a setup something along these lines, and then one of you guys wraps back once bomb is down to kind of watch that flank more thoroughly, and the rest of you focus up towards B bomb, and that setup also works insanely well. You can even double smoke this potentially if you wanted, if you're, you know, depends how you feel about GAs and all the situation right now. If you smoke it kind of like on their side as well, something like that to really work that bomb, that can work great as well. Also defensively, by the way, you gotta be worried about these red barrels here that blow up, and so just be cautious of that. And that's something that I think defensive teams are gonna get better and better at nading when you're running up towards the bombs. So be really careful about that when you're working that way up. And it might even be worth gammon bombing your own barrels before you try to work up to the bomb. Just in the long term, that probably would be the better play to play it safe without those exploding on your way out. So A bomb can be a little bit tricky as well, just because of how clustered it can kind of get in there. But overall, again, in an ideal world, you have somebody watching that cross, so you know how many people you're dealing with inside A specifically. But then one player climbs up onto the staircase here, kind of knocks it out, and can clear out that area like you're seeing here. So you're just clearing out all of A with that one player who's inside the window, while the 2 other players are maybe hitting through the doorway here, sliding in and trying to win those gunfights and clearing that out as well with number 4. So you have a lot of pressure early. And then again, what you gotta be worried about is the player pinching through secret and coming up behind you. So just know that your clock's kind of ticking as you're pushing up to A, and you need to be worried about that guy pinching pretty quick there, as number 1 still working on that pinch and then defending the flank and trying to play those gunfights on the whole side of the flank here, kind of watching your back all the way through. There's also some really interesting snipe spots on this side of the map like you're seeing here. And right now there's some weird glitches through the staircase on A where you can kind of see through it if you're sniping from far enough away with low graphics settings. So that's something to be aware about. I'm sure that'll get patched eventually, but right now that's something to consider at least. So the other thing I want to mention is that if you can plant the bomb on the backside of A and control their fire back here, and like if your bomb setup could look something like this, I mean, then you're sitting really pretty. The only other spots that I wanted to mention again is 3rd story in library that you can really utilize to find some first bloods, where if you get a guy up there up top, he can kind of clear out this side towards their fire, towards their tanks, and he can actually help that push towards B. And that creates for a pretty nice setup as well. So 3rd story is really OP. So overall, man, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Berlin strats, and this video right here is the strats to Tuscan, and more of these videos will be coming out soon. So the likes, the comments, the subscribes mean a lot. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. But as always, guys, like, comment, subscribe if you guys really enjoyed it. But as always, guys, I'm your boy SalvationsElite, and we'll see you next time. I'm out.